Hello, and welcome to another episode of Sexpertise. I hope you guys have been enjoying our January episodes of 2025 as we explore alternative lifestyles and different types of relationship dynamics. If you are joining us for the first time, I'm your host, the Erica Rivera, and today we're diving into a topic that's deeply emotional but often misunderstood, and that's jealousy. While jealousy is frequently seen as a negative emotion, it's actually a natural human experience. What matters isn't the jealousy itself, it's how we respond to it. This is especially important in polyamorous relationships where multiple connections can often, trigger insecurities or fears. In today's episode, we'll redefine jealousy, explore its root causes, and discuss practical strategies for turning it into an opportunity for growth. By embracing open communication, which I talk about all the time, trust building, as well as self reflection, jealousy can transform from a destructive force into a stepping stone toward a stronger and towards more authentic connections. So let's jump in and explore how we can master the art of jealousy. All right. So I'm looking at myself and I almost can't take myself seriously with my little buns. Anyway, I'm so used to being super formal on here, but today I decided not to be. But all right, let's discuss what jealousy is. Jealousy is a complex emotion that's deeply tied to our sense of security and self-worth. At its core, jealousy often arises when we perceive a threat to something we value, such as a partner's attention or affection. This feeling can stem from fear, insecurity, or even societal conditioning that equates love with exclusivity. It's important to note that jealousy is not inherently bad. It's actually a signal from our emotions that something needs attention, whether it's within ourselves, our relationships, or both. Now, in polyamory, jealousy may show up more frequently because the structure of the relationship inherently challenges traditional ideas of exclusivity. Seeing a partner connect with someone else can feel intimidating, even if you intellectually support the idea of multiple relationships. So, the key is to approach jealousy with curiosity rather than judgment. What is this emotion trying to tell you? What is it trying to tell you? Is it a fear of being replaced? A need for reassurance? By acknowledging jealousy without shame, we open the door to understanding growth. In polyamorous relationships, jealousy often arises when a partner forms a new connection or deepens an existing one. And it's natural to feel a pang of insecurity when someone you love is investing time or energy into another relationship. However, jealousy and polyamory is not necessarily about the other person. It's often about how we perceive ourselves and our role in the relationship. Recognizing this distinction is crucial to navigating jealousy more effectively. Polyamory challenges the traditional notion that love and attention are finite resources. And we discussed this in last week's episode. In reality, was it last week or the week before? Either way, we discussed that whole topic. But in reality, love is actually abundant. And one partner's connection with someone else doesn't diminish their love for you. Jealousy in polyamory can be a signal to explore what you need to feel secure and valued in your relationship. By shifting your perspective and focusing on communication, jealousy can become a catalyst for deeper emotional connection and trust. So, what causes jealousy, though? To manage jealousy, it's important to understand where it's coming from. One common root cause is insecurity. So if you don't know what that word means, most of us do, but insecurity is a fear, at least in this case, a fear that we're not enough for our partner. This insecurity might stem from past experiences, such as betrayal or rejection, or it might be linked to our own self-esteem. When we feel inadequate, any perceived threat to our relationship can trigger jealousy. Another root cause of jealousy, and this is a common one, is the fear of abandonment. This fear is often rooted in childhood experiences or past relationships where we felt we were left behind or completely overlooked. In polyamory, this fear can be amplified when our partner invests into other relationships. Recognizing these fears and working through them, whether through self-reflection, communication, or even therapy, can help us navigate jealousy in a much healthier way. Jealousy, jealousy is often labeled as a negative emotion, but I don't feel like that's entirely fair. Jealousy is simply an emotional response, and like any emotion, it's neither good nor bad on its own. What makes the difference is how we respond to it. When we suppress or deny jealousy, see that can manifest in very unhealthy ways. You can end up feeling resentment or even having passive aggressiveness. But when we can acknowledge and address it, jealousy becomes a tool for understanding ourselves and our relationships. In fact, jealousy can serve as a valuable indicator of what's important to us. So maybe you need to think about jealousy a little bit differently. For example, feeling jealous might reveal that you need more quality time with your partner or that you're craving emotional reassurance. By listening to what jealousy is trying to tell you, you can identify areas for growth and connection in your relationship or relationships. The key is to approach jealousy with curiosity and compassion rather than judgment. or shame. And honestly, even I'm pretty guilty of that. I'm not inherently a jealous person, um, but if I do feel that pang of jealousy, I tend to approach it with some shame. It's not something that I would like to feel, but like you guys, it is best to follow my own advice and continue to approach jealousy with that curiosity and compassion. So instead of viewing jealousy as a threat to your relationship, try reframing it as an opportunity for growth. Jealousy often points to unmet needs or unresolved insecurities, and addressing these can lead to greater self-awareness and emotional resilience. So, another example, if you feel jealous when your partner spends time with someone else, ask yourself, what do I need to feel secure? How can I communicate that need in a way that strengthens our connection? It's not that different from some of the questions that I had asked you all to reflect on during our episode two weeks ago when we were talking about different relationship dynamics and relationships outside of the norm and what it is that you need to feel loved and wanted. By embracing jealousy as a learning experience, you can transform it into a positive force in your relationship. It's not about eliminating jealousy altogether. It's about understanding it and addressing its root causes while using it as a tool for building trust and intimacy. In this way, jealousy becomes less about fear and more about growth. So, communication, there's always going to be a segment on communication no matter what I'm speaking on. So, communication is the cornerstone of managing jealousy and polyamory. When jealousy arises, it's essential to talk openly and honestly with your partner. Don't just sweep your jealousy under the rug. Please talk to your partner about it. Use I statements to express how you feel without placing blame. For example, instead of saying, "You made me jealous when you spent time with them," try saying, "I felt insecure when you spent time with them because I value our connection and I want to feel reassured." This approach fosters understanding rather than defensiveness. So, really, that was just a fancy way of saying to avoid being defensive. It is much better to use I statements and being honest about how you felt in that moment rather than placing blame. I would also suggest scheduling regular relationship check-ins. And I have mentioned that a couple times before, but I want to hone in on that a little bit now. And it's actually a piece of advice that I recently gave someone that I was doing some relationship coaching with, within the last month or so. But it's worked pretty well for them, and I know that it could work pretty well for you as well. But these relationship check-ins is another effective strategy because they provide a safe space to discuss emotions and address concerns and reaffirm your commitments to one another. So, by keeping those lines of communication open, you can navigate jealousy as a team rather than letting it create distance between you. Now, you still have to set boundaries, and that's in any relationship. Boundaries are an essential tool for creating emotional safety in a polyamorous relationship. They provide clarity about what's acceptable and what's not. helping to prevent misunderstandings that could then lead to jealousy. For example, you might set boundaries around how new relationships are introduced, or agree on how much time is allocated to each partner. Boundaries should be seen as a flexible and evolving thing rather than rigid rules. So don't look at boundaries as like a controlling situation. No. Boundaries are flexible and they evolve. So as your relationships grow and change, it's important to revisit and renegotiate those boundaries to ensure that they still meet everyone's needs. The goal is to create a framework that fosters trust, respect, and emotional security for all parties involved. So I have those here. Feel free to screenshot at any time. All right, now the role of trust. So this is another topic within a topic that is extremely important and kind of goes hand in hand with everything I mentioned as far as communication and transparency. So trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship. And it's especially vital when navigating polydynamics. I cannot stress that enough. I mean, without trust, you really don't have much to go off of. So when trust is strong, jealousy becomes less. Okay, it becomes less about fear and more about seeking reassurance, which is completely understandable. Trust isn't just about believing your partner won't betray you. It's about trusting that they respect your boundaries. They respect your boundaries, they value your connection, and they care about your well-being. There's a lot of different components to trust. You know, people think that it's a simple one size fits all thing, like, I trust that they're not going to lie to me. I trust that they're not going to do something behind my back. But it's way more than that. And building trust takes a lot of time and consistency. So it's going to involve open communication, honesty, following through on commitments. I make that gesture because I feel like, from my experience and talking to the people that walk into my office, that seems to be one of the biggest things is your word. Are you following through on what you say? Because that's also big when it comes to trust. For example, if your partner tells you that they'll check in with you after spending time with someone else, following through on that promise reinforces trust. If you don't do that, you're breaking that trust. Over time, these small acts are going to build a foundation of security that can help you manage jealousy much, much more effectively. When jealousy arises, it's important to have healthy coping mechanisms in place. And one effective technique is mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness helps you stay present and avoid spiraling into negative thoughts. Come on now. We've all been there. We start thinking about something negative and somehow our brain just decides this is where I'm going to stay. So, for instance, if you feel jealousy is creeping in, take a moment to pause, breathe, and ground yourself in the present moment. Ask, what am I really feeling? And what do I need right now? It's a really powerful tool. And another powerful tool is journaling. Journaling can be used for processing jealousy. Writing down your thoughts and emotions can help you to identify patterns and uncover the root causes of your feelings. Additionally, talking to a trusted friend, support group, or therapist can provide valuable perspective and reassurance. Or you can come talk to someone like me, someone that's not only a relationship educator, intimacy educator, trauma advocate. I'm here for survivors of trauma. I may not be a licensed therapist, but someone who does sex coaching. These are the types of things that you can seek someone like myself out to talk to. That way you're not sweeping it under the rug or letting it manifest into something negative. Either way, whether it is someone like myself, a friend, a family member, the goal is to process your emotions in a way that promotes understanding rather than letting them control your actions. And I understand journaling is not for everyone, which is why I give multiple outlets. Now, let's explore compersion. This may be a new word for some of you. It is most likely not if you're someone who is already in a poly dynamic or in an alternative lifestyle of any kind. But compersion is often referred to as the opposite of jealousy. It is the joy that you feel when your partner experiences happiness with someone else. While it might sound challenging, embracing compersion can be transformative in polyamorous relationships. It shifts the focus from competition to collaboration, allowing you to celebrate your partner's connections without feeling threatened. So, practicing compersion takes time and effort. Some of you guys are probably watching this episode and thinking I could never ever, but you never know. Start by focusing on your partner's happiness and reminding yourself that their joy doesn't diminish your value or place in their life. Over time, as you cultivate compersion, you may find that it brings a sense of peace and fulfillment to your relationships. Remember that compersion and jealousy can actually coexist, and it's about balancing these emotions and choosing to focus on the positives. Sorry about that. Jealousy, it's just the weather changes. If anyone watching this is from Florida, you can understand that this weather right now is crazy. So constantly have a little tickle in my throat and my allergies are all over the place. But anyways, let's get back to this topic, which is more interesting. So self-reflection. Jealousy is an emotion that offers an incredible opportunity for self-reflection and growth. When you take the time to understand your jealousy, you gain valuable insights to your insecurities, your fears, and emotional needs. This process of self-discovery allows you to address these issues and build greater emotional resilience. Now listen, emotional growth doesn't happen overnight, all right? But it's worth the effort. And I'm telling you, I get that jealousy is tough. I had contemplated whether or not I should even do an episode on jealousy. No one likes to talk about jealousy. But I promise you, it is so worth the effort to just face these insecurities, face these fears, and build that emotional resilience. By acknowledging your feelings without judgment and working through them, you become a more self-aware and empathetic partner. This not only strengthens your relationships, but it's going to enhance your overall emotional well-being and how you handle jealousy outside of your romantic relationships. In this way, jealousy becomes less of a barrier and more of a bridge to deeper connection and personal development. seeking support. Having a support system is invaluable when navigating jealousy and polyamory. Because, like I said, jealousy is hard to admit. It's hard to admit when you're jealous. It's hard to face. It's hard to talk about. So, connecting with others who understand your experiences can provide validation and reassurance. Whether it's joining a local poly group or participating in online forums, attending workshops, um, watching a show like this one. You guys can send me fan mail, by the way. Address will be at the end. But these communities offer a safe space to share your journey and learn from others. Professional support can also be incredibly helpful. A poly-friendly therapist can provide guidance and tools for managing complex emotions like jealousy. And sometimes just having someone to talk to who understands the unique dynamics of polyamory can make all the difference. Remember, you don't have to navigate jealousy alone. There are plenty of resources and communities that are ready to support you. Now, here's something else that you can do when managing jealousy. Managing jealousy is a journey, and it's important to celebrate your progress along the way. Each time you navigate jealousy in a healthy way or have an honest conversation about your feelings, it's a win. It's a win. A win is a win, right? These moments are a testament to the strength of your relationship and your commitment to personal growth. So take time to acknowledge these milestones with your partner, whether it's a heartfelt conversation, a small gesture of appreciation, or simply reflecting on how far you've come. Celebrating your wins will reinforce the positive aspects of your relationship. I feel like these celebrations, they remind you that growth is possible and that your efforts are creating a stronger and more fulfilling connection. Now, I have some final thoughts. To wrap up today's episode, let's reflect on what we've learned. Jealousy is a natural and complex emotion, but it doesn't have to undermine your relationships. By understanding its root causes, communicating openly, and embracing self-reflection, jealousy can become an opportunity for growth rather than a source of conflict. Okay. Now, thank you for joining me today on Sexpertise. I hope this episode has given you the tools and confidence to navigate jealousy with compassion and understanding. Remember, the key is to approach jealousy with curiosity, communicate openly with your partner and partners, and embrace the journey of emotional growth. All right, well, stay tuned for next week's episode where we will explore another exciting topic in modern relationships. I promise it is juicy. Until then, take care of yourself and your connections. And like I mentioned earlier, you can contact me. There is my direct email. I do have a mailing address for fan mail. And I am the Erica Rivera on all platforms. And don't forget to subscribe to Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, I continue these conversations on there. We have monthly newsletters, we have workshops, we have all kinds of goodies on Patreon. So please feel free to subscribe. And Lucy decided to make an appearance today during our episode. This is my baby. Hello. All right, take care of yourself, and I will see you next time.